Honorable Speaker, in your communication, you have hinted on several critical matters. I want to firstly join you in condoling with the family of the late now Dr. Engineer Daniel Bosa, who's been the head of the Ndiga clan. Honorable Speaker, we have had so many unresolved murders in this country, and Ugandans increasingly get agitated. They're now taking matters in their own hands. I don't think that's a place we want to be at. This mob justice is actually not mob justice, it's mob action. These are people saying, we don't trust that the killers will be brought to book, let's deal with them ourselves. Once this becomes prevalent, even innocent people along the way could suffer. I'm glad, Right Honourable Speaker, you have directed the Minister of Internal Affairs to bring a report to this House. Maybe you'll guide the duration when that should happen on all these unresolved matters so that we know and so that the country gets to know what's happening and whether or not people should keep doing what they're doing, which is improper. But we need some kind of assurance from government. What is the latest? What is happening with these investigations? Right Honourable Speaker, as you did mention, I went with a couple of members of parliament to the Lubowa hospital site. We wrote to the Minister of Health, among other things, also requesting her to join us and to take us around or to delegate somebody from the ministry so that we establish what exactly is going on. Parliament injects plenty of money on an annual basis to this project. The minister wrote back to me and she indicated she couldn't make it. She had a cabinet meeting, but she signed off by saying, I wish you a successful tour. And Right Honourable Speaker, I want to table a copy of this response by the minister. Of course, people interpreted that variously. Some to say, well, this minister has been denied access to those very premises, and yet she's in charge. So by her signing off and saying she's glad about the tour we are doing, but signs off by saying, I wish you a successful tour, no wonder we met the resistance that we met and we could not access. Honourable Speaker, it's important that this Parliament, and by extension the nation, gets to know who exactly is in charge of this project. Because the Ministry of Health, as far as I understand, it should be in charge of the project. We are told it is now Office of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has said, no, it is Ministry of Health. Yesterday, the police officers and then military and so on, they kept telling us, you have not got clearance. I said, but this project is under Ministry of Health. Here is a letter of clearance from the Ministry of Health. So, Right Honourable Speaker, government needs to tell us who exactly is in charge of this project. The Minister of Internal Affairs should also explain to this House why members of Parliament have been denied access. Not just yesterday, but even in the past. Denied access by security outfits. Why? Because as Parliament, we appropriate this money, billions of shillings, on an annual basis. Why is it that now security does not want us to go and establish the money that we are sending? What is it doing? With your indulgence, Madam Speaker, I think the Minister of Internal Affairs needs to let this House know why, as Parliament, we cannot have access. You have said the Deputy Speaker should go there on Wednesday. As the Minister of Health has said, we wish him a successful tour. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister of Health and or the Minister of Finance should give a status update to this Parliament and account for the money so far spent. Because denying us access to these premises is a clear indication that maybe there's not much going on. So we want to appeal to you, Right Honourable Speaker.
There is a procedure matter. Honourable members, as part of accountability for the monies that we give out to institutions that get money from government, and as per Article 164 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, it's just prudent enough that for us we must do our oversight role as Parliament and ensure that we make a follow-up on how much money has been given to an institution, how much money has been used, is there value for money? And based on that, yesterday, the leader of opposition led a team to one of the institutions that we are giving money, that is Lubowa Hospital. To my surprise, I am told, which I'm here to confirm, I am told the team was denied access to see what is happening, where our money has gone. And I think that is really very unfortunate, because we are doing what we are mandated to do as per the Constitution. We are doing our oversight role. So I think as government, you need to guide us. Should we just sit here, appropriate money, we don't see what is being done, and we call it a day? Remember, this is taxpayers' money that we must account for.
I did ask the chairperson of our Committee on Health why he was not reporting on Lubowa. And the Honorable Ayume told the Budget Committee that Lubowa has since then been moved to the office of the Prime Minister. It is no longer in health. He said it. If there are other members of the Budget Committee can bear me witness here. I am now shocked, Madam Speaker, that the Prime Minister now says I'm going to consult the Minister of Health. Maybe she meant another person, because the Honorable Ayume said that in our committee, and if you read the report of the Committee on Health, there is nothing about Lubowa. But of interest to this Parliament, Madam Speaker, if you read the report of the Auditor General, the Auditor General reports that while government is supposed to have an engineer, a resident engineer, that angel called Pinetti has since then chased the resident engineer. Her resident engineer is the one submitting requisitions to finance to pay. And the Auditor General says that actually that they have paid money for even no work that has been certified by over $70 million US. That's the report of the Auditor General. I feel sad. The Honorable Bahat was here putting the whole Parliament at gunpoint. We must approve this promissory note immediately.
Where was the gun? No. Let it be off record that there was no gun on the floor, because nobody is allowed to carry a gun.
Madam Speaker, you will forgive
Let's
me.
change the language. Let's change the language. It was either spitting fire or whichever, but there was no gun that Honorable
Madam Speaker, forgive my language. I am a journalist. So
Okay.
that's. But if it doesn't, if people don't pick it immediately, I withdraw.
Okay.
So, but the point I made was that the Honorable Bahat, who was that time representing finance here all the time, he said we must approve this loan request today, immediately, or else we are going to begin paying fines. And that project was supposed to have been constructed under 48 months. It is now 5 years. I think maybe there should be a time when these people are being marched to Luzira, like it happened when Amin was removed. Like, but his warrant in Luzira should find him at the gate. Because how do you continue sitting here? You told the Parliament, if we did not pass this, we are going to begin paying fines. How comes the one violating the contract
There
is not paying fines?
Order.
On behalf of members of Parliament from Buganda, we pay our condolences. We have lost so many in this country. And Right Honorable Speaker, for quite some time I was the Shadow Minister for Internal Affairs. And I tried to follow the matters in this country. Even when we are going to move a motion, after the death, I think, of Mr. Kawesi, the President of Uganda came to this Parliament and addressed a session of Parliament. and outlined 10 solid 10 measures that were to be taken. At the end of it all, he pledged that murders will be no more. I can't remember how many motions have been moved in this parliament on murders, but they have continued. Even where we are praising the public for pursuit, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to further investigate that, because one, a possibility of cover-up in that pursuit when you are going to capture the assailants, so that that case dies at that point, can also be executed in mob justice and complicates matters of investigation. But, Right Honorable Speaker, no single case has been brought exhaustively. Even the one of Kagezi, it is only recently that we are seeing actual people being brought to book. So we are losing so many people, Right Honorable Speaker, that we may now reach a level where we demand that the President of Uganda comes back. We request, implore him to come back to Parliament to account for the 10 measures that were undertaken. And why? After the implementation, and we have allocated billions of money in cameras, billions of money in classified expenditure, billions of money, yet our people continue to die. Right Honorable Speaker, on matters Lubowa. Right Honorable Speaker, as the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, looked at Lubowa, and I've already issued some witnesses from Ministry of Finance to appear before the committee. But there are small matters also to sort out. You are also aware that the Auditor General did a special investigation on Lubowa. The committee, while handing over the Auditor General's report, he said it was complete.
Did they allow them in?
What?
Were they allowed in? Auditor General.
The Auditor General, in his report, they were allowed in. And they did a thorough investigation. All we are also asking is that the Auditor General produces that report to you. So that while we are considering this matter, while we are considering this matter, we can also look at the special report of the Auditor General that he has carried out on Lubowa. The details, if I utter them out that I've read, I will bias the investigation that the matter before me. But of interest, we immediately demand that special report. The Auditor General is denying that it's not yet ready, it's not yet final. While presenting the Auditor General's report, he said it was ready. We need it to complete this process.
Okay.
My concern, Madam Speaker, so many of my honorable colleagues have talked about Lubowa, but there was one submission that was very critical that we should have listened to properly. The Honorable Mwangachivubi said the Auditor General went and did an audit on this project, and he was allowed time to understand the project. And he's about to bring that report to us. My procedural matter was, Madam Speaker, don't you think it would be procedurally right to wait for that report to come here? Possibly, it could answer most of the questions we're putting out, because the Auditor General, the Auditor General is part of Parliament. By the fact that he was allowed to access the site, do an audit, I believe he will give us the proper answers because he's part of this Parliament. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
We actually intend to move this House via motion that, number one, even as we wait for that accountability, because money has been spent already and the Minister of Finance has confirmed. But one, that we halt as Parliament paying any more money to Lubowa Hospital. Because they are not accountable, we cannot access to see what's happening there. Let us hold. Because otherwise the taxpayer will blame us as Parliament. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, we think that...
First of all, I want to find out, are there obligations that you've entered into that cannot be stopped in terms of promissory notes? Finance. I want to get your legal opinion to that effect.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I think we need to look at the terms of the contract and understand that that question, I'm not in a position to answer it at this point, whether there are any obligations that have been entered into which can't be stopped.
Okay?
Right, Honorable Speaker, you see, the practice, financially and even legally, of promissory notes, before another promissory note is issued, the contractor is meant to give a certificate of milestone completion.
Yes.
And that's the accountability we want. So far, I mean, why do you keep issuing promissory notes?
Maybe we
and
need
there's no
to get the
accountability?
certificates of the milestone completion that were given to finance before finance made payments.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and that's part of the accountability that we are demanding.
On a point of procedure earlier, during the consideration of the budget framework paper, I did ask the chairperson of our committee on health why he was not reporting on Lubowa. And the Honorable Ayume told the budget committee that Lubowa has since then been moved to the office of the Prime Minister. It is no longer in health. He said it. If there are other members of the budget committee can bear me witness here. I am now shocked, Madam Speaker, that the Prime Minister now says I'm going to consult the Minister of Health. Maybe she meant another person, because the Honorable Ayume said that in our committee, and if you read the report of the Committee on Health, there is nothing about Lubowa. But of interest to this Parliament, Madam Speaker, if you read the report of the Auditor General reports that while government is supposed to have an engineer, a resident engineer, that angel called Pinetti has since then chased the resident engineer. Her resident engineer is the one submitting requisitions to finance to pay. And the Auditor General says that actually that they have paid money for even no work that has been certified by over $70 million US. That's the report of the Auditor General. I feel sad. The Honorable Bahati was here putting the whole Parliament at gunpoint. We must approve this promissory note immediately.
Where was the gun? No. Let it be off record that there was no gun on the floor. Because nobody is allowed to carry a gun.
Madam Speaker, you will forgive me.
Let's change the language. Let's change the language. It was either spitting fire or whichever, but there was no gun that Honorable
Madam Speaker, forgive my language. I am a journalist. So that,
Okay.
that's, but if it doesn't, if people don't pick it immediately, I withdraw.
Okay.
So, but the point I made was that the Honorable Bahati, who was that time representing finance here all the time, he said we must approve this loan request today, immediately, or else we are going to begin paying fines. And that project was supposed to have been constructed under 48 months. It is now 5 years. I think maybe there should be a time when these people are being marched to zero, like it happened when Amin was removed. Like his warrant in Ruzira should find him at the gate. Because how do you continue sitting here? You told the Parliament, if we did not pass this, we are going to begin paying fines. How comes the one violating the contract
There
is
is
not
an
paying
order.
fine?
Order.